Worry is a thief of peace, but trust invites God's presence. Worry has a way of slipping into your mind quietly, but once it's there, it grows louder by the minute. It starts as a whisper, what if this goes wrong? And soon becomes a shout, filling every corner of your heart with fear and doubt. It steals your sleep, clouds your thoughts, and robs you of the peace God so freely offers. Worry doesn't just stay in one area of your life, it spreads like a shadow, darkening your perspective and making every problem seem bigger than it really is. But trust works differently. Trust doesn't shout, it settles. It brings a calm assurance that even if you don't have all the answers, God does. Trust reminds you that His presence goes before you and behind you. While worry pulls your mind in 1,000 different directions, trust gathers your heart and anchors in that truth of who God is. It doesn't remove the storm, but it places you safely in the hands of the one who can calm it. Worry thrives on control, the need to figure everything out, to predict every outcome, to manage what's beyond your reach. It keeps you restless because it tricks you into believing that if you think long enough or fear hard enough, you can fix it. But trust invites God's presence by releasing control. It says, Lord, I don't know how this will work out, but I know you do. It shifts your focus from the size of your problem to the greatness of your God. The more space worry takes in your heart, the less room there is for peace. It's like a tug of war happening inside of you, worry pulling one way, peace pulling the other. But trust breaks the tension. It lets go of the rope and surrenders the struggle to God. His presence doesn't enter a heart full of fear and fight. It enters a heart that says, I trust you, even when I can't see the way forward. Worry looks at what's missing, but trust looks at who is present. Worry keeps your gaze fixed on the problem, the unanswered question, the unopened door, the uncertain future. But trust lifts your eyes to the one who is already standing in your tomorrow. God's presence is never distant. It's near, but you notice most when you choose to stop wrestling with worry and start resting in His Word. The choice is yours every day to let worry steal your peace or to let trust welcome His presence. Worry builds walls around your heart, closing it off to hope, but trust opens the door and says, come in, Lord. It's not that the problems suddenly disappear, but with God's presence beside you, they no longer have the power to steal your peace. God controls what you cannot. There are moments in life when no matter how hard you try, the situation remains beyond your grasp. You plan, you prepare, you push, but the outcome doesn't budge. It's a hard truth to swallow. There are limits to swallowing. There are limits to what you can control. You can plant the seeds, but you cannot make them grow. You can chase opportunities, but you cannot force doors to open. It's in these moments of helplessness that worry creeps in, whispering that if you just think harder, work longer, or fear stronger, you can change the result. But what worry forgets is what faith remembers. God controls what you cannot. He governs the unseen, orchestrates the timing, and moves the pieces that are too heavy for you to lift. When the road ahead seems blocked, it's not because He's forgotten you, it's because He's preparing something you cannot yet see. Just because the answer hasn't arrived doesn't mean He's not working behind the scenes. His hand is steady even when your world feels shaky. When you face a problem too big for you to fix, it's not a sign of failure, it's an invitation to trust. God never designed you to carry the weight of what only He can handle. The burden of controlling the future, changing someone's heart, or opening every door is not yours to bear. You were created to lead, not to carry. His strength fills the gap between what you can do and what only He can accomplish. The tension comes when you mistake responsibility for control. You are responsible for your efforts, your choices, your attitude, but the outcome. That's God's territory. You can't control the rain, but you can plant the seeds. You can't control people's reactions, but you can choose to walk in love. You can't control the timing of your breakthrough, but you can stay faithful in the waiting. Surrender doesn't mean stepping back in defeat. It means stepping aside so God can step in with His power. What looks like a dead end to you is often a divine detour from God. While you see the closed door, He sees the path behind it. While you feel stuck, He is shifting the pieces into place. The situation may feel out of your control, but it has never been out of His hands. His plans are not threatened by your limitations. What is impossible for you is still fully possible for Him. Every time you release your grip on the uncontrollable, you're not giving up, you're giving it over. You're handing the weight of the unknown to the one who already holds the future. God controls what you cannot. And that truth doesn't weaken you, it frees you. It frees your mind from racing thoughts, your heart from unnecessary burdens, and your spirit from trying to play a role only he was meant to fulfill. Peace comes from trusting God's timing, not rushing his plan. It's easy to feel restless when life doesn't move at the pace you want. You pray for answers, for open doors, for breakthroughs, but sometimes all you hear is silence. The waiting feels heavy, and the longer it stretches, the more tempting it becomes to take matters into your own hands. But true peace doesn't come from forcing a solution. It comes from believing that God's plan is unfolding exactly when and how it should, even when you can't see the full picture. God's timing is rarely what you expect. You might want immediate answers, but he often works behind the scenes, preparing things you're not even aware of. What feels like a delay to you is in reality a divine alignment, pieces shifting, hearts changing, doors being built, not just opened. Rushing ahead might get you there faster, but if the foundation isn't ready, what you build will collapse. Trusting his timing means recognizing that what seems slow to you is still moving according to his perfect design. When you push for something outside of God's timing, the weight of control becomes exhausting. You start carrying burdens that were never yours to hold, and the pressure to make things happen drains your strength. But when you trust his plan, the weight shifts. You're no longer forcing doors open, you're waiting for the right ones to swing wide. The tension fades because you realize the outcome doesn't rest on your efforts alone. Peace grows when you release the need to control and lean into the faith that God is already at work. God's plan often includes seasons of preparation, moments where nothing seems to be moving, but everything is being arranged beneath the surface. These seasons are not a punishment, they are a process. He may be shaping your character, strengthening your faith, or protecting you from something you're not ready for yet. What feels like a delay is actually grace in disguise. Trusting his timing means embracing these quiet seasons, knowing they are not wasted but necessary for what's to come. The struggle arises when you equate waiting with being forgotten. You wonder if God has overlooked your prayers, if your desires have gone unheard. But trusting his timing means believing that just because you don't see movement doesn't mean nothing is happening. God works in the unseen, aligning circumstances and preparing hearts, so when the moment arrives, everything fits perfectly. Peace comes from the quiet confidence that he's not ignoring you, he's orchestrating something better than you imagine. Letting go of the rush means anchoring yourself in the truth that God's plan is never late. His ways are higher, his vision is clearer, and his understanding is beyond what you can grasp. The peace you seek doesn't come from watching the clock or demanding a timeline. It comes from surrendering to the fact that the one who holds time itself is guiding your steps. When you release the need to hurry, you make room for his peace to settle in, steady and unshakable, rooted in the knowledge that his plan is unfolding exactly as it should. Worry focuses on the what if, faith focuses on the even if. Worry traps you in a cycle of fear, constantly asking, what if things go wrong? What if I fail? What if I never get what I prayed for? It pulls your mind into the future, creating scenarios that haven't happened but feel real enough to steal your peace. Worry feeds off the unknown, whispering lies about what could go wrong, keeping your heart restless and your spirit heavy. Faith, on the other hand, doesn't ignore the unknown. It faces it head on with a different mindset. Faith says, even if things don't go the way I planned, I trust God is still in control. Even if the answer doesn't come when I want it, I believe he is working for my good. Faith doesn't require perfect conditions to stand strong. It grows in the middle of uncertainty. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing to believe that God's promises are greater than your fears. Worry wants you to obsess over the worst-case scenario, but faith redirects your focus to God's faithfulness. Worry makes you feel like you're at the mercy of life's circumstances, but faith reminds you that you are held by the one who controls every outcome. The what-if mindset makes you cling to control, trying to predict and prevent every possible problem. The even-if mindset releases that grip, acknowledging that while you don't have all the answers, you are guided by the one who does. The power of faith lies in its ability to shift your perspective. Worry magnifies the problem, making it seem larger than life. Faith magnifies God, keeping your heart anchored in his strength, not your own. It doesn't mean you won't have moments of doubt. It means those doubts won't control you. Instead of spiraling into fear when you face uncertainty, faith lifts your eyes to the bigger picture, reminding you that God's plan is never threatened by life's unpredictability. Living in the what-if keeps you paralyzed, hesitant to move forward, because you fear what might happen next. But living in the even-if sets you free. It gives you the courage to step forward, knowing your hope is not in the outcome, but in the one who holds your future. It allows you to release the constant need for reassurance because your confidence no longer comes from everything going right. It comes from trusting that even when things go wrong, you are never alone. Faith doesn't eliminate the unknown, but it redefines how you approach it. The what if builds walls of fear, isolating you from the peace God offers. The even if opens doors of trust, allowing his peace to guard your heart and mind. It's not about denying the hard moments. It's about standing firm in the belief that whatever happens, God is still good, still present, and still in control. The shift from what if to even if is the foundation of unshakable peace, anchored not in the absence of trouble, but in the presence of God.